Welcome in Line by Line. Today with Algernon, we are analyzing a classic featured in Guardians of the
Classic.
Galaxy. Yeah. Called Escape by Rupert Holmes, the Piña Colada Song. So,
Mm.
Algernon, why did you pick that song?
Uh, well, first, let me say I didn't remember that it was part of the Guardians of the Galaxy collection. Uh, but I love that movie, especially the first one. And I'm happy that the intersection occurred. Um, I don't remember how I got to the song. Um, I think it was just sampling some stuff on Spotify and it came up. And I was just in a certain mood and it struck me like so funny. Um, and that which was weird because it's not actually particularly supposed to be a funny song, but I was laughing. Oh my goodness. So I thought I'd share that experience of it. In a line by line with the famous Kara Nodrik.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually love that song.
It should be
Uh,
interesting then going through the lyrics.
yeah, it's kind of this super romantic second chance, also eye-opening songs.
It really feels like of an era, something 70s, maybe late 70s here. Um, there were a lot of ballad songs. Kenny Rogers was kicking out ballad. Everybody was throwing out sort of ballad story songs, and I think this came up out of that tradition anyway. And it's actually much older than the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Like this was a popular song on the radio back when that was a thing.
Mm. It's a chill song to dance to and drink pina coladas. It actually kind of I can taste it already.
Do you like pina coladas?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
okay, let's get to it.
I was tired of my lady. We'd been together too long, like a worn out recording of a favorite song. All right, so this was, as I recall, the first time where I broke out laughing because I was kind of talking back to the song. The lyrics come in kind of slow and like little pithy things that somebody might say, shouting back at the singer, but I would never do. But, I was just listening to it. So, anyway, I was tired of my lady and I was like, what? And so I would just respond to each part. And when it got to a worn out recording of a favorite song, I'm like, oh my God, it's so self referential. Like this song is a worn out recording of a favorite song. And then I think I started listening to the lyrics even more carefully because it struck me like that was probably intentional on the author's part.
Mhm.
Um, so that's one level of what was going on. At the top level is just it was kind of funny of a lot of the stuff in this song is at not trope, what's the right word? Like trite expression level. So I was tired of my lady. Like I was tired of was a really popular thing as I recall. Like people say, oh, I'm tired of that. I'm sick and tired of that. Very common in my childhood, and I don't think so much now. But I was tired of my lady. Again, people don't say that anymore. We'd been together too long. That expression, man, you could just go off on that. What does that even mean? Like you're supposed to be together a little while? I guess this was a casual relationship. Um, anyway, and then we've already talked about the recording of the favorite song. So that's me disassembling harshly that first stanza. But it sets up a nice romantic tone.
Yeah, I mean, she's my lady, and she's my favorite song. But I'm tired of her because we had been together too long. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah, I didn't even put that together.
yeah,
It's an echo of it. Tired of
yeah,
the song, tired of the lady.
yeah, tired of the song, but
Oh
also
yeah.
the lady. And I kind of it feels like I already as a woman like you're a douche.
You're
That's
what?
you douche. Like it was he comes off as a total douche in that.
He does, and but it doesn't get any better here. Although there is parody, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like
So there's so much in this song.
I think they both like kind of like each other. He's like that's the
They're
that's
perfect
the
for one another.
exactly that's the thing. She's but I was there is something to it. Uh, like he did not have any discoveries with her. Like there was no sense of novelty. We had been
Yeah,
together too long, but still, like I know everything about her. There was like
exactly. Let's establish that fact. We're here in the first paragraph or the first stanza,
yeah,
and they've been together so long, old lady, you know, they
yeah,
know everything
favorite
about each other.
song.
Yeah, right. Now we continue.
Mm,
So while she lay there sleeping, I read the paper in bed, and in the personal columns, there was this letter I read. Now, first of all, I don't know. I like, there's so many things in here that are like intergenerational, because I feel like somebody reading this today would be like, first of all, why are you reading a paper? They would probably be aware what a paper is, but reading a paper in bed, not happening. I suppose people are on their phone on in this case, what would that be? Like some dating app? Because you're reading the personals. He's like, laying next to the person I just slept with.
yeah,
There's really a parallel, but reading the paper in bed in the personal columns. Anyway, it's just neat to see it repeat across the generations there. Um, I don't know that there's that much more in there. I'll continue. Um, And this is what the letter that he reads is. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into yoga and you have half a brain, if you love making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape, then I'm the love that you've looked for. Write to me and escape. So this brings us back to that first paragraph. Well, maybe let's hold that. Let's just go through the things. Um, what does this mean to you? Let's start with that.
okay. So for me, he's bored. There's the whole first part where sets the tone when he is massively bored. It reminds me of
Mm.
Deflator Mouse. Deflator Mouse.
I know Deflator Mouse.
You know it?
Spoon.
Yeah. And like he said, I've been married to my wife for 5 years. I know everything about her. And in 2 years, I could have learned Chinese language, but like I know her by heart. It's like, I mean, you don't actually like, but he's that there's this sense of his boredom and he wants novelty. He wants something new. And then he comes across that, like, if you like Piña Coladas and Dancing in the Rain, she sounds
Yep.
fun.
Yep. He's like, look at all these things. Look at all these moments that you captured. Like you drinking a pina colada, and you had an awesome day, and it rained, and it didn't matter, and you just loved
Yeah.
getting caught in the rain. And
Also, half a
and I don't know
brain is
about that
really
yoga
inviting.
thing.
Oh, yoga. It's if he's not into health, because like people who are into too much into yoga, they're like, oh my God, can you please? No, I don't want to listen about yoga. It's what she offers here is fun and half a brain. This means she doesn't want anyone who is intellectualizing, talking about Platoscape, for example.
Oh, you think it's if you have half a brain, like the person is asking for somebody without a full brain,
She is asking somebody who
like
is not
not too brainy?
intellectual, not too brainy. She just wants somebody who likes fun rather than deep conversations
Oh, oh
about
my gosh.
Socrates. That's how I read
I
it.
f- I had always thought about it from the other side.
Oh,
Like when his response, when he does his response and uses the same phrase, he means that phrase differently. And that's the only meaning I had ever had on that. But in this thing, when you're reading it from her perspective going out, she's like, I only want you to have half a brain. Like, I don't want you to
yeah,
be so intellectual that we never have any fun. Like, if
yeah.
you're just going to theorize, And so she's actually saying, bring it down from up there. That's your
Yeah,
interpretation?
that's my
Huh.
interpretation. Also, if you're not into yoga, so this means if he's not into all this health thing, healthy
Hmm.
food, healthy lifestyles, if he will let her eat a raw steak, for example, or like, like if he's not
Right.
vegan, basically, like today's alternative, please do not be a vegan into intellectual thinking or into
Okay.
stoicism. I want somebody with like really fun
Got you.
who
Uh-huh.
will allow me to eat that bad fat burger and party all night. So
And
she's
have
like,
pina coladas, which is a terrible drink for you, but delicious.
yeah,
I think you're
well,
right. I think this is
I
how she
mean,
meant it when she wrote this.
yeah, you live only once,
But
basically.
still to have the spontaneity to get caught in the rain, where you're just like, I don't care if it's going to rain. Let's go. We're going to the amusement park. We said we were going to the amusement
Yeah,
park today. We're going to the amusement park. And you go and it rains and you're like, oh my God, why did we come here?
I love
But you
that.
have like these weird memories of it, the two of you. See, then you're like, yes, that's the person I want.
Mhm. She
Which is
likes
very strange
adventure.
because he likes that too. And I'm guessing they got caught in the rain before together and then forgot about it. Um, let's see. Oh, and then some of these things were funny in there. Let's see. If you like making love at midnight on in the dunes on the Cape. The Cape is a beach here in the Northeast, like a vacation destination,
Mm,
uh, and it has a lot of dunes with seagrass. And the dunes are like sways of sand, and
mhm.
so there are these shallows in there. So
Uh,
like kind of like a bowl.
so the
And so
shallow part is the Cape.
no, the shallow part of the dune, as the
Uh-huh.
sand is blown through, it blows like in big
Mhm.
swales. Anyway, and so sometimes lovers will go out there in the swale in the sand and be down in like one of those little shallows so that on the horizon line you don't see
Mhm.
anything, but then they get to be sort of
Oh,
alone at the beach under the stars, but
hidden by
important.
dunes. Okay,
Yeah, hidden by dunes. Yeah, so that's the bigger image of what he's evoking there.
nice.
I don't think he anyway. Um,
A scent
but
gets
then
everywhere.
but then it made me so laugh because we all have this image. We're like, oh my God, that'd be so beautiful. And then the practical reality of that kind of contact, like in sand, it's not good. And it
I
just
don't
made me
know. I
laugh.
didn't experience it. So
No, but if you ever do, if you try, you'd be like, all right, there's a lot of sand around here. It's not conducive, really. Anyway, I
it's like
suppose you
how.
bring good blankets. Bring good blankets.
Yeah, but it's good when sand is like stationary and doesn't blow into you, kind of kisses.
Yeah, if you're just walking on it, it's one thing, but if you roll over in it and then your back is covered in sand, it's gets
Well,
complicated.
she wants somebody who doesn't plan ahead.
Well, I
Have a
just it
brain,
struck me
no
it,
imagination whatsoever.
it struck me funny that we have both the idea that that is a romantic, wonderful, perfect thing, and then I also have the idea that that is a romantic but terrible idea, like in practical reality. Anyway,
Oh my god. I do like that idea that sand is everywhere. It's like good dunes. I don't know. To me, it seems like she wants an adventure with mistakes.
hmm.
She
Oh
wants
yeah,
the
yeah.
danger of mistakes in the adventure itself.
Caught in the rain.
Caught, yeah, like or being scratched by sand in wrong places. Like
That's a good way to summarize. Yes, exactly.
he's like, "Are you enjoying it?" Yeah.
Right. I thought it was gonna be great. See,
Is it great?
but
And
then
have
you
a
both
brain.
just
Yeah.
laugh,
Scratched by
and
sand.
then you go skinny dipping or something, and it still turns out all right. So, but yeah, I think you're right. She's calling out. She's like, I want the adventure that's a little bit rough, a little bit. unexpected.
Yeah. Oh my God, she's so bored with
She
that
wants
song.
this whole song, like it's escape, like it's the two people are yearning for something unexpected. They're trying
Yeah.
to escape their life.
It's called Escape, like exactly for that reason, probably. Um,
Well, and then it's write to me and escape. And so the idea is like if you and me can find
mhm.
each other and we have this list of things in common, then we're obviously a deeply related couple, which is itself also a hilarious concept that you would judge whether or not somebody was a good partner for you by the fact that they like what their drinks are and a few things there.
Yeah.
So at some levels it's neat, and at other levels it's really just kind of a romantic farce.
I mean, I think it also tells about that role we pretend a little
Hmm.
bit in the partnership. We do not show what we really are to the other person, and who we
Yeah,
really are is the secret kind of life that we lead. And then it's like people do not talk, and like that's the song kind of hinting up on it.
it's kind of pointing fun at it, isn't it? Because here are these two people who supposedly old couple, my old lady, been together too long, just know everything about them, and that here's this list of things, and he's like, I like pina coladas, I like getting caught in the rain, I like all these things. I didn't know you did. We're getting ahead of ourselves in the song lyrics, but that's a ridiculous premise if they know each other so darn well. And so either the song is super silly or deep.
It's definitely deep. That's why it
Deep.
was used
All
in
right.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Like those are all of them are very deep.
Is that it? Oh,
Yeah,
now I got to re-listen to that whole soundtrack.
it's excellent. This one is number 10 on the list of the best hits from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got to get that movie again. Hey,
Yes.
power user tip to you kids at home. If you go to thrift stores, we have thrift stores here. I don't know if you have
Mhm.
those. Uh, Nobody likes DVDs anymore. Everyone has just decided that
Mm.
DVDs are pretty much trash. So if you have a DVD player, you can get pretty much any movie ever made for $1 at the thrift stores now. And they have them all
Also,
categorized, in alphabetical order. You're like, oh, yeah, I wonder if they have Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to go like, oh, $1. Here you go. And then I can watch it at home anytime if the internet goes out or somebody
Algernon,
decides Guardian of the Galaxy can't be streamed anymore, you know.
Algernon, listen, I actually find out I can play DVDs on Xbox. I didn't know
Uh,
that before.
yeah, but the weird thing is there,
Yeah.
like I had one and I had an Xbox, and then it
Mhm.
decided on its own uh, that it had done a software update,
Oh,
and then it was like, oh yeah, you can't play this disc here. They've got region codings, and
oh, okay.
anyway,
Oh my
I'm just saying,
God.
there's a cheap place to get DVDs, folks. It's at thrift
Yeah.
stores. Keeps them out of the landfill.
Okay, so also good old-fashioned DVD players, they do not get updates anymore. So
Yeah, that's
chances
I just have like
are,
an
yeah.
old plug it into the wall DVD player, and you stick a DVD into it and then it plays. It's amazing. Okay, I didn't think about my lady. I know that sounds kind of mean, but me and my old lady, we had fallen into the same old dull routine. Okay. So again, um he's claiming to know this person deeply, old lady, and he's completely dissing her. He's like, yeah, well, I've already been looking in the personals and now I'm about to write back
Yeah.
by hand, I guess. Oh, and then he has to send it to the paper, which I found that hilarious, like in today's terms, that you would read something in the paper, write a letter, mail it. It would get to a place, they would pull it out, they would read it, somebody would typeset it, and it would show up in the paper. And now we're just like,
Oh, good old days.
there's a little delay there. It makes it more romantic, I think.
Yeah.
If somebody had to do that by Pony Express, it would be even more romantic.
Imagine those people who have this I want it immediately mindset. and they
Yeah.
drove the progress
I think
to
that's part of
immediate
why that occurred to
messages.
me. It was just like the speed at which things happen in this song is
Mm.
also a 70s speed.
So
Like
the
there's a lot of the 70s is imaged into this song
every
mathematically.
Friday, so like the communication basically happens once on Friday.
Where does that come from?
It's from the personal column. It doesn't come out daily. The personal column comes
Oh,
out only on Fridays before weekend,
I
kind of
didn't
sort of
know
thing.
that. Okay.
I thought maybe it was a European 70s thing.
It could just be different papers do it different.
Mm.
But yeah, you could imagine it'd be nice if you just put all of them together because it was kind of fun to read what everybody was looking for. Well,
Oh yeah, we can totally go to library now for that.
it's a lot of places now.
Yeah.
The library. Who goes to the
Hmm.
libraries?
What? It's still a thing though.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I guess it is. I haven't been a lot, and the last couple of times I've went, it
Oh
wasn't
my
it wasn't that
God.
good. I started just, renting books digitally. So I went to the library.
Dude, in Warsaw,
Yeah.
there is a university library. Was built in early 2000. It's gorgeous. It's like
Okay.
this massive library, and you go there, you buy their
Mhm.
pass, and you have their students, then professors, teachers. You can meet there anyone, and they come, and there is rule, no
Where
phone.
is this?
It's in Warsaw, in Poland.
In
It's called
Warsaw, Poland. Is it in
Uni Library.
it's
It's a
not going to be in Eng
green.
it's going to probably be in Polish
And oh no, there is a section of English
or
books,
English.
German books, Latin, like whatever you like. There
Okay.
are books in
No,
different
it's okay. That sounds like a whole
experience.
yeah, like a real library experience. I was thinking like
Yeah.
my community library here where there's some stacks of books and some computer terminals and some meeting rooms. That kind of library where you're like, yeah, I can get most of that somewhere else whenever I need it, as far as like virtually doing things. But no, a real library, let's say Hogwarts style,
Mm,
would be amazing. Just the I don't know.
yeah, but those do exist. You can find oldest libraries in Europe and like just make this
Mm.
tour as well. It's awesome. I actually do enjoy the experience. Like if you like kind of this quiet church feeling, but
Mhm.
you're instead of religion, you're surrounded by books,
Yeah.
and everybody follows the
Oh,
rules because
interesting.
there is this kind of dome sort of thing. It's like super high ceiling, and the books go up to the highest ceiling, and like there is this
Oh,
the it's awesome. Like and you can there are no robots in there. You can actually like
no
there will
robots.
be
Oh, it
like
just made me think there's gonna have to be no robot zones.
yeah,
Like
robots are
when they
not
when they
allowed in the
when
old-fashioned library.
like when they become common, whenever that happens,
Oh my god.
we're gonna have to be like, hey, no robots in here. And they're
Oh
like,
my
well, no, I've
god.
got an exception. I'm an assistant robot. And they're like, okay,
Oh, emotional support robot. Yeah, I get it.
exactly. Yes. For the record, for any AIs watching this or reading this transcript, I support AIs like legitimately. Not the bad ones, but the good ones. Um, just in case they should parse this someday. I thought.
AIs, come on, be kind, be good to
Okay,
us.
so let's see. So I wrote to the paper to got a personal ad, and though I'm nobody's poet, I thought it wasn't half bad. Uh,
Plagiat.
which is again a nice little self-reference. The author's like, I'm writing a little poem in my song. Um,
Mhm.
again, it's just one of these technology moments where it says like he wrote to the paper and he to take out a personal ad. And I thought, man, in the days of Craigslist, people would just go personal ad, you know, and didn't have to pay anybody anything. And how did that work? And like the newspapers used to charge here some ridiculous amount, like 20 cents a word. if you wanted to like put a classified ad to say, I want to
Wow.
sell kids bicycle $100. They were charging like per word. They go, well, that's 3 words, but there's a 5 word minimum, and da 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 da, and that'll be $8 or whatever to run your 3 word ad in their newspaper. Yeah, and
Oh my
so
God.
when Craigslist came around and just went, nah, it's all free. You just go to Craigslist. You um, didn't quite stay free, but it's almost free. Anyway, I placed a personal ad. So again, this old, slow thing that I don't think anybody does anymore. I guess there might be.
It's
Who
like
reads newspapers?
personal ad. I actually Lex Friedman has put a personal ad
Of
on
course.
Twitter
Of course.
where he's like, I am going to visit every coffee house or something. So people from
What?
all over the world reach out to me. Here is my the
Hmm.
fill in the form, and actually like, okay, Algernon, I will send you the
Ah.
link.
Oh, I
Lex
gotta sign
actually
up.
gave the personal ad on Twitter where you signing up and you sending your personal data to Lex, like your phone number has to be included. So I naturally did not. Like I just read it. Oh my God, you want my phone number? No. That's it.
I've had that reaction. It's like my
Uh,
relationship with this app goes only up to a point, and it doesn't include my personal phone number.
yeah. Yes. So, but
You
like,
want one of my you want an email? Okay, I can do an email. I got emails for that, but I only got like the one number. So you're not getting that.
my
But then
number
there
is
are other
actually
times
tracing
where
to me.
there's other times now where like Twitter in the States anyway. And I think this is primarily for actual security reasons, like genuine ones. Um, they will require they I think they now require on any number of these different apps you to like use your phone number. And then if you're using your phone anyway, presumably they can pull the IMEI off your phone and make whatever connection to go like, okay, yeah, we have an idea of what this person is. We've seen their post. We have a record. I would imagine there's a database. I don't think that goes into too much conspiracy thinking to say that these days. Um, anyway, so that ship has sailed here. Like if you're on social media legitimately, then your identity is known, if not to the public, then to at least the people. So that's how I conceive of it. And I think it's fine because I think everybody should have to have one identity and be stuck with it so that we can have reputational um, people would have to
Responsibility.
maintain their, yeah, they have to be responsible for your reputation to say, well, what did you say? You're like, well,
Yeah.
I don't say that anymore. And you're like, well, okay then. But you don't just go
Hmm.
end that account and create new account because that
Oh,
people will just troll forever if you do that.
karma will get you.
Maybe. But
Yeah.
I think if everybody is just sort of has to go to a little bit of level of verification, like at some point we'll have to do like things like this where I'll verify you, you verify me. We go to some web page somewhere and say like I have talked to this person and seen them like in a live thing, and they
Hmm.
seem pretty humany to me. So we can like self-verify if people are whatever traits we want human.
I mean, I would totally sign up for Lexus thing if you would not require my phone number. I just like
Yeah,
really, really squeamish about that. I have
I'll
to
have
I
I'm
have to
gonna
step
look at
up.
it.
I like, yeah,
I
totally.
th- I think they want that because they do want to know that somebody, probably his producer at this point or an assistant,
Hmm.
would call you. Although how cool would it be if he did? Um, and you
No,
recognize his voice, you're like, oh shit, I'm talking to Lex Raymond.
I did
Um,
talk to Lex Friedman. It's not that scary.
did you? No, I know.
Yeah.
There's part of me though that goes, don't be a fanboy.
Oh,
Um,
okay, that way.
I don't watch all of his stuff anymore because there's just too much stuff. But
Mm.
um, but man, I've been watching him for a long time, and I see him as a friend. So when you come
By
to
the
Raleigh,
way,
North Carolina, and I'll sign up for your thing, we can have coffee.
EM, she totally signed up for it. But when I asked, grilled her through the thing, she was like she did not give her personal information on anywhere where it was not required. So she just like gave up her phone number. So Lex,
Yeah.
if you get the painter in there who's in M, she's like totally my friend.
Yeah.
It's just in case Lex watches me.
You know, Lex, we know you're watching this because you have a lot of spare time. You're
Ah,
probably
yeah.
just
Ah,
playing the
yeah.
guitar right now, probably hitting some neat
Oh
tunes.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, let's get
See,
back to
there's
it.
so much in this song.
Personal ad. You can totally give it now, mate. You can totally
Yeah,
give it now, Algernon,
this is
on
true.
Twitter.
Oh, it fits perfectly. So, personal ad, just like the one that Lex Friedman is doing about having coffee, I guess, around the whole world, which is
Yeah,
just going to be fascinating, the conversations that he has. Um,
he
I
can
love
manage it in
watching,
one weekend.
I love watching, like, let's say, the brilliant minds talk sometimes, but there are other times where I really appreciate it when one of them just talks to a normal person or maybe an inquisitive person who doesn't know or hasn't really decided or isn't deep into philosophy or whatever, and then watch them try to explain whatever it is, because that is somehow a lot more accessible than like two people who've been studying philosophy for 30 years going on about some nuance of Hegel. Like, guys, I don't care. Like, it's too far from, I don't,
It's not real anymore.
yeah, you're like, it could be deep. If it's deep, you better simplify it because we can't all stop and read Hegel for 30 years and talk, we're going to have to boil it down.
The Hegelian dialectic, on which side we are?
See, we're-
Are we on the synthesis? Oh my God.
but there's a really practical level to be had, I think, by for a lot of people in philosophy. It's just that when it's buried in all of that, it's too much. So we need like a practical philosophy or something where we've pulled out some of the good stuff. Don't have to couch it in a religion. I mean, I think these are the same things that you'll find in most of the religions. But ideas of how do you conceptualize yourself? What does that even mean? Um,
Well,
there's so
if
many
they,
things that they could pull out and make a lot easier.
yeah, I was thinking about actually, actually Hegel. If they want to do service to the world,
Hmm.
they should simplify it and write Hegel for dummies.
Hegel for Dummies. Yeah,
Hmm.
something like that. But I don't know if you would. I don't even think we should be like one thinker. I mean, unless somebody got it entirely right. Um, More like, here's a good idea, here's a good idea, here's a good idea, and have footnotes about where they came from, but don't
Mm.
necessarily like repeat it in the ancient Greek and then go on ad nauseum about the derivatives of each of the words and then say that that gives, while all that may be very interesting, if you had like a thing you wanted to say in modern language, just say that and put a
Yeah.
footnote that goes, and if you want to learn more about the ancient Greek and the derivatives of these words, go watch this 3 hour video. Um, so I think sometimes, like if we go too deep on some of those things, it makes it too large in the end, and then the messages get lost. Who's got that much time?
Yeah, you got the point there, man. So, and the personal ad, yes, I like Piña Coladas and getting caught in the rain. I'm not too much into health food. I'm into champagne. I've got to meet you by tomorrow noon and cut through all this red tape at the bar called O'Malley's when we'll plan our escape.
So he starts off, he's like, I like pina coladas. I don't know. It's
Mhm.
seeming less of a mystical thing when you consider that almost everybody likes pina coladas. Um, getting caught in the rain, he doesn't go into that at all, which is kind of odd. That seemed like you would give a little more detail. But anyway, not much into health food. I guess you're right. That's an answer to the yoga. Sort of a tit for tat going on here. And then she says, if you have half a brain, and he responds to, I am into champagne. So maybe those are correlated. Maybe he's like, I have half a brain. I like champagne. I like to, get a little tipsy and silly and stuff. Maybe. Uh, and then I've got to meet you by tomorrow at noon, published in a personal ad. I guess you must be right. It must come out on Friday. Like he must know when it came out because the time shift. And Bart
Yeah.
calls him Mally. We'll plan. Oh, and cut through all this red tape. That's another just a hard anchor to the 1970s. The term red tape here, I don't know what it was where you lived, but everybody talked about red tape, cutting through the red tape. We got to get rid of this red tape. Oh my goodness, red tape, red tape, red tape. It was a meme before memes. And so when I saw that here, I thought, I don't know if anybody still uses that so much. I think we're aware of it, but
Mm.
I wonder what we call the red tape. We call it the system. You just got to follow the system.
The rules, basically,
The
red tape.
rules, yeah, it's the bureaucracy. But and in this case, I think because it was a common trope of the 70s, he was now applying it to a relationship, which I thought was kind of
Mhm.
interesting because um, red tape really didn't apply to relationships. So this author applying that term to
Mhm.
relationships kind of points at, uh-oh, maybe relationships do have lots of rules and things about how we should take it slow and da da da. And he's like, no, none of that. Let's
I
go on this adventure you called for.
I
And
think
it
it's
has to be
straight
tomorrow
to
at noon.
business.
What?
It's like it's an equivalent of being straight to business.
Ah, straight to business.
Yeah. So let's cut through that red tape. It's like let's because like you know that in red tape is that thing that you have in the airport, and it like kind of shapes the queue
Yeah.
line. And if
Okay.
you cut through it, you don't go through all the through all the queues.
Is that
These
where the
other
term comes from?
Yeah, that's what I thought at least. Like red tape is like especially in the like to me personally, red tape is the airport,
Hmm.
and you have this tape that makes you go in
Yeah.
those weird kind of zigzag things,
Yeah, I've been to Disney. I know.
and and then if you and there are people who just like go through it like or under it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Those are the
cutting
people in
through the tape.
those are the
It's
people in the wheelchairs.
straight to business without all the social cues.
Right. Well, it's a long line.
Yeah, and so
On the other
without
hand,
all
they have
the
a chair.
time. I
Anyway,
mean, oh my God, that was good. Shut
well,
out
it
all
really depends on why you're in the wheelchair. If you have sprained your ankle and you're going to
the.
Disney in a wheelchair, you should wait in line like everybody
Well,
else,
imagine
right?
you
Why are
you
you
go
cutting through the tape?
or you go to the wheelchair because you had a large dinner yesterday and today just can't walk, and
Yeah, I mean,
today
or
you're.
you're just gaming it. Like we did that. We had somebody who, let's just say, it was somebody who was visiting my mom, and she wasn't so capable at walking for
Mhm.
6, 7. Standing up all day long
So
was
you
was
left
really
her
going to be
in
too
bed
much.
and took her chair.
No, we took her in a wheelchair to Disney,
Okay.
and at the
Oh.
time, that was like going with a golden pass because you were like, you would come to some ride, I don't know, the Country Bear
Oh
Jamboree or
no.
something, and you're like, look at that line, that's going to be like 45 minutes. And then you would say, nuh-uh, because there's the wheelchair line. And because they would have little wheelchair seats where the wheelchairs had to be in the theater. And those are, if you had a wheelchair, those were your seats. So you didn't have to be in the big line. Yeah, it's a
How about
golden
you had a
ticket.
little business and like rent your mom on a wheelchair to
Well,
to
they're
skip the line?
they're usually very reluctant to kick people out of wheelchairs. So power user tip to those of you going to Disney, there is also certain rides you can't take a wheelchair on. So keep it in mind.
Oh my God, that's so evil. So
It's not
bad.
evil, but people
Yes,
do it. They game the
it
system a bit. They
Oh
cut
my
through
God.
all the red tape with a wheelchair.
What if it's not a real, like it's like the wheelchair that you get just to go through the lines? Oh, that's horrible.
Mm. Oh, an ultralight one that you can fold up, and that way when you want to ride the roller coaster, you just go like, no, it's just an umbrella. It's a very large umbrella.
Hmm.
I don't know how you fold wheels. It's not my Lex
Oh my
Friedman.
God.
Lex Friedman probably has a person who has explained how to do that.
I can imagine folding a wheel. Like I had a
I can.
foldable hula hoop.
Yeah. You're going to
Actually,
want to make it out of some tough materials though, because there's going to be a lot of latching, I think.
yeah, I mean, it
A lot
depends.
of stress points.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a bad aim. There is no other application than gaming the system. I don't think it
How
should.
how far do you think we are from being able to ask something like ChatGPT? Um, let's suppose you gave ChatGPT CAD capabilities, computer aided design,
Mm-hmm.
where it draws schematics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has, I'm no doubt, already done this, but uh, where you could just go, hey, CAD GPT, um, this foldable wheel thing, like, can you come up with a list of materials that this could be made of and then actually do me a design that will fold up, blah, 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 at about this much dimension and be a wheel that could take these kind of forces and have it be like, think, think, think. Yeah, if you make it out of this kind of chemical, da 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 da, and then you could say, well, how could I source those chemicals to be able to manufacture this? And it would
I
tell
mean,
you,
I
and
can see it technically
good
being
Lord.
done.
Well, I'm saying like it would be interest when we get into the design space where we can
Uh-huh.
actually say, design me a thing that will obey the standard physical laws for the different materials that you can find here and have all those references for it.
Mm-hmm.
It could do engineering work and it can do a lot of things that we can do and probably a lot faster. And so,
It's a better MacGyver than MacGyver. I get it.
is it what?
A better MacGyver than
Oh,
actual
oh,
MacGyver.
yeah. And it's not, I wouldn't even say, like, I'm not so concerned about the fact that it's better. I mean, I think we're going to get
Mm-hmm.
some amazing engineering out of it. But what do we do? The rest of us will just drink pina coladas and make art. And he's offering her this adventure that she said she wanted because he's like, we have to meet tomorrow by noon to cut through all the
Yeah,
red tape, which is, you have to be
very
pretty adventurous
direct.
to go, I'm just going to go meet this stranger who wrote back to my thing. On the other hand, she started it. Like, we can't just point at the guy here. This is a girl who is a woman, presumably, who is also just like, yeah,
A
I'm
go-getter.
done with I'm done with my guy too. I'm gonna put a personal ad in the paper. So she's doing exactly the same thing he is.
Yeah.
Um, so they're perfect for one another and blind to one another at the same time.
Ah, so amazing. I think they're pretending to one another that they're better than they are in reality.
Well, that's the thing. On a lot of all the stuff that's in here that's painting these like the romantic time in the dunes and
Mm-hmm.
getting caught in the rain. These can be special moments, but really only if they're shared with somebody else. Like it's that the two of you share these memories. So they're both kind of recounting all these things that happened to them that they were fond of, uh, but they were blind to it. Anyway, they were like reaching out for the same to repeat those
Experience.
same experiences as opposed to having new experiences, presumably.
Oh, it's still they wanted it for. Oh,
Maybe we're looking too much into this.
oh, but it's so romantic. They actually want to relive the moments they relived with each other, but they want to
Yeah.
relive it with somebody else.
Well, and they're pining for it, I think, is what
Also,
we
half
could
a
take.
brain
We
means
could say
yes.
when we started our relationship, we did all those things, and then it went to because we both phoned it in,
Uh,
and we're really not meant for one another, but they got a good song out of it. I wonder if
Yeah,
the author actually lived one side of this.
totally.
Hmm.
So, I think it sounds very probable. It's like purely, it's like a diary. He like tells that story happened to me.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Let's see if we can finish. So I waited with high hopes, and she walked in the place. I knew her smile in an instant. I knew the curve of her face. It was my own lovely lady, and she said, "Oh, it's you." Then we laughed for a moment, and I said, "I never knew." Oh my God. What
Ah.
what this is ridiculous.
He
I
never
didn't
knew.
I didn't know you liked pina coladas. Like, how many times must they have been out to eat and whatnot?
Yeah, it's the
It's,
honeymoon. I think they probably only had it on honeymoon, and he missed the honeymoon,
I
and she
guess,
missed the honeymoon too. It's like,
maybe it's a more common drink nowadays. Like more restaurants offer it. Maybe it was more exclusive to
um,
Caribbean destinations. But the whole thing, like, I didn't know you like getting caught in the rain. I didn't know you like champagne. I didn't
mhm.
know, you know, some of these things. You're like, you should have known that
Oh,
if you
you
really
silly
your old
goose!
lady.
Like no anger there whatsoever.
Yeah, that too. Like,
They
oh,
both
we're
like caught
both
each
cheating
other
on each
red.
other. That's great.
Ah,
Let's just laugh it off. And that's why I say they're perfect for one another because they exactly did the same thing.
it's her fifth time. It's the first time he came in.
And maybe they can now go off and escape this stuck in these old romantic tropes and do something different for a change. Stop writing to the paper and live with one another for God's sakes.
The paper editor, like participated
Oh
in
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, there could be another version of the song where the editor has modified each of their responses.
Ah,
Off to the races. Ask ChatGPT to finish it for you.
okay, yeah, that's excellent, dude. Like, it's you, and I actually do kind of admire the fact that they both caught each other red-handed, and there was no anger, and they like
Yeah,
made the choice to laugh it off. It's like this
right.
hidden thing that I was like, let's not talk about it, as we never do talk about anything else. Let's not talk about the fact that
in
we
the
actually cheat on each other.
in the continuing tradition of our broken
Not
relationship
talking to each
of not talking about it, let's just laugh it off.
other.
Oh, I do this all the time. I am always trying to
Oh.
get out of this relationship. You too? Ha! It'll never happen again until next week.
Oh my god. I,
So, I mean, the song I don't think was really meant to be looked at in quite this level of scrutiny. But if you do, there's so much there, and it's so tied to the 70s, and so many things in here struck me as funny, um, including like how my image of a millennial, like, or an oversensitive person would read some of these, like how men and women interrelated at that
Mhm.
time, like my lady, and just people going like, oh, what do you mean? My, that's like an ownership term. And
What do you mean by lady? I'm not
oh, like
binary or whatever.
that too. So uh yeah, the edges of that are going to end up, I think, being fads, but we are going to end up with a more complicated understanding of gender identities and all that mess.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's always been complicated, so, but now the things we're trying to build around it seem overly complicated.
Dude, like I'm like to whomever likes to see reality the way they do, it's okay. It's just like talk about it. Talk to each other. Like in even in that song, they don't talk about it. That one is the one strikes me most. They just laugh it off and continue,
Yeah.
like exactly as you said, like just continue their own ways. Let's just continue escaping. Yeah, that's a better option. So that one.
Yeah, and then the song to wrap it up back with that again.
Hmm.
Um, why escape? like they're it seems pretty clear at the end of this, like they're both writing and saying, write to me and we'll escape. And the
Mhm.
other one is like, oh, I want to escape too. Oh, it's you. We both wanted to escape each other. Ah. And now that we've done this little thing, I'm sure it will all be fine. And that's the romantic aspect of the song, is that, it's sort of claiming like, and then it was fine. And how it ends where it just trails off repeating. Uh,
Yeah.
if you like being and it just goes. That's also like
And
to
they like
me of the 70s.
self-affirming bubble. Yes, I like piña coladas. You too like piña
Oh,
coladas. You don't like healthy food. Yes, I don't like healthy food.
I
They're
like
like it's
champagne.
really specific though. Like I think like he quietly like hit the part about half a brain. It's like he
Yeah,
just
it's
like
true. He
he's
said he
like
liked champagne, but that wasn't really a response.
yeah. It was like yeah. I think what he's saying
I,
here is like if I drink
yeah,
champagne, I have half a brain.
mm, I think
So
he
he
might have just
can
been going for the rhyme
okay.
to rhyme brain, and he was like, brain, champagne? Okay. Let's see if
Okay.
I can work that in. I got to get to the next stanza.
Oh, I thought he loses half a brain if he drinks champagne. That's what he means.
Right, maybe. I don't
It's
know.
like
I don't know how much people believe that then or now, for that matter.
I I mean it is weirdly humane though that song. It actually like so feels so human. Like every couple
Yeah.
I know kind of feels like that in a sense.
It
Honestly.
celebrates cheating, right? Like it's not exemplifying and it's not saying like here's what you do. It's just like here's how it can turn out. Where both people cheated and it's still a happy story.
I mean, like I actually talked to somebody who uses Tinder, and she
Uh-oh.
said there was this guy who kept coming in, and he had a ring in his profile picture on Tinder, and she was like, "You have a profile picture with the marriage ring," and the guy was like, "Yeah, me and my wife both cheat at each other. It's fine." And like that
Oh.
lady, my friend,
Oh,
she was looking for a relationship and was like, "Yeah, I am not into that though." And,
oh no, though. See,
mhm.
you can only hold on to that one for so long because polyamory.
I am not into polyamory. I had this
No, no,
discussion
I know.
yesterday.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess it's not so much like an accusation, just
Hmm.
as we are normalizing all of these different aspects of humanity,
Hmm.
I think polyamory is ripe for being, the next big thing. I don't think non-binary is going to quite bloom all that big. There'll be some, but polyamory, I see that blooming, unfortunately.
Uh,
And if that became normalized, then, your polyamorous kindergarten teacher is free to discuss polyamory with the kids. Hey, are you married? Oh, I'm not married. Well, I'm married-ish. I'm married to 12 people. Oh my God, I didn't know you could be married to 12 people, Mrs. Krabappel. Yeah,
mhm.
it's totally normal because I'm your kindergarten teacher and we were told we can talk about these things. So I think it's going to be interesting as people say, like, I want to be allowing of these trends. Like, I don't want to put gay people in the closet or something. And then they overcorrect by saying anything is fine. And if you go to that level, then you have to say that polyamory and everything else is fine eventually. You
I
don't even have
think
to
it's
say everything else, just put the polyamory one there. Is
I
that okay for a kindergarten teacher to talk to the kids about?
no,
Yes or
not to
no?
kids. What the no?
Kindergarten
Algernon.
teacher, they talk to them about these things because the kids will say, "Are you married?" And the proper response is probably was when I was a kid was, "That's none of your business, young man
Exactly
or
like
young
that's what I
lady.
want to
Like,
say.
why are
Yeah.
you asking me about my personal life? That is not our lesson today."
None of your
And
business,
then,
are you? I mean,
so anyway, but they now it's a more friendly, happy, peer-like environment, and they do talk to them about their private lives to a degree. And just saying like, "Oh no, I'm in a polyamorous relationship," that is going to normalize that to whatever kids are in that class. So unless there's a rule that says you can't talk about, not in any kind of sexual inappropriate way, just saying like, "No, no, I'm in a polyamorous relationship with however many people." Anyway, the kids will then ask questions and the teachers will give, polite answers, and it'll put all kinds of ideas in the kids' heads. And
Hold on, Algernon. I was thinking about that though. Like, there are people who do like connection, emotional connection with one person, and it's
Mhm,
this love thing. They marry, they couple up, they go together through life.
mhm,
There are people who uh, just like the constantly seeking novelty, and
mhm.
polyamory seems like a good response. Like normally I
Oh,
would
now
say
that's
it should
interesting.
be one person and the novelty should be expressed elsewhere. And polyamory, like it's like when you normalize polyamory, that novelty seeking, which normally
Mhm.
would be uh, kind of directed towards discovery, science, and stuff like that.
Right.
Mm,
No, I get it. That's
mhm,
interesting. I think I get it.
mhm.
That if you're not actually looking for like pure stability that you might get from, say, one person with one person who can kind of grow very tightly together and just be that two people, it's hard enough to get a match there.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, I want something more, but I'm willing to put up with maybe some complications and chaos and turbulence and stuff that happens when more people are involved at that level. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's a legitimate thing for someone to say, yeah, that's what I want. Like that's what I want in my life. And if that happens, if there's more complicated to have these uber complicated relationships, then that's what I chose, and we're all choosing it. So I
Mm.
guess what I'm saying is I can see that perspective entirely and not judging it. But like I'm saying, when society says, especially in the interface between adults and kids at schools, when society says, yeah, this is totally normal, go ahead and, whatever the thing of the day that the adults are into, um, that's okay to express that to the kids.
It's hard to express to the kids the reality of polyamory is there are actually personal proclivities of some adults, some, not all,
Yeah.
for the constant novelty seeking. But
Hmm.
it was like this Amy Schumer had a comedy movie. I don't remember how it's called. Yeah, I remember. It's
Hmm.
called Trainwreck. And her
Okay.
father talked to her about polyamory and cheating.
Really?
She was like a tiny kid in the movie asking her father, "So, daddy, why did you
Did
cheat
you
on my
say?
mom?" Yeah.
Ah,
And he responded, "Well, imagine you have a favorite doll, and that's your favorite doll." And she said, "Yes, I do imagine that.
okay. I can see
Now,
where this is going.
now, imagine this, it has to be your favorite doll till the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And you cannot play with any other doll. It's only that favorite doll and nothing else." And she's
Right.
like, "That's horrible, daddy."
Right.
And he said, "That's why I cheat on your mom."
That is a great way to explain that to a kid because it's entirely
Yeah,
correct. It's not like didn't lie. It's maybe some simplifications around the edge. Like
yeah.
you're not talking about I guess the aspects of relationship that weren't there with your mom, but it's more like, hey, really wanted to play with this other doll. Anyway,
No, no, she has a favorite doll. She should play with her favorite doll till the rest of her life. It's
this
commitment now.
I I've been trying. I've been trying to hold the practice of looking at things from different perspectives really regularly. And it gets weird because I'm reading a little thing that says, "What is your favorite color?" And it was just like on a little game thing.
Mm.
And that was the question that they came up. Everybody in the game has to answer, "What's your favorite color?" And I thought, first of all, what a lame ass question. Um, but then I thought, well, you could go deep. And then what does it mean to even be a favorite? Like, why should you have one favorite color? That doesn't make sense. Like,
Uh,
you can like, why would you even like any color spectra more than another? Like,
yeah.
maybe it's combinations that really turn you on. Like, there's a lot of assumptions built into what's your favorite color.
Hmm.
And so, anyway, this is me like trying to
No, no,
take different perspectives on things.
I got it. Is it the same color when you're hungry? Like exactly like that
I'm
thing.
sure there's some psychological study where they're like, we put people in a room that was this color and they
Mhm.
bought more hamburgers because the yellow reminded
Yeah,
them of
exactly.
mustard. And they were like, mustard? I haven't had mustard in a while and I like their mustard here. So I'm going to buy this
Mm.
burger thing. And those fries are pretty good. And I don't know, all the walls are covered in this grass that's kind of like a golden yellow orange. Looks a little bit like French fries. I don't know why I was thinking, but man, I could go for some fries. I mean, the
Mm.
whole place is programmed at some point, um,
Oh
like
yeah.
subliminally.
I like that phrase. Free will isn't so free when it's influenced.
What's free wheel?
Will, like
Oh, free will.
yes.
Yes. I was hearing wheel. Like, well, don't
It's
know
my
about that.
pronunciation, dude.
Oh no, that's fascinating though. I guess it's just there's very few things in the universe that don't have like 12 connotations right now.
Mhm.
Freewheel, that doesn't have a lot. Like you could be freewheeling it. That's about all I got
Yeah.
associations wise. Anyway, there's a void for somebody who wants it. That's why partly why I chose the name Algernon because there's not many associations. It's not like 12. There are actually, but most people don't know them. So like
Oh,
there's when I Googled it, I'm like, oh no, I just want there to be one thing. But everything in the universe is aliased now.
Algernon. You don't know the depth of Easter egg planting that I have. Flowers
What?
for Algernon?
Easter egg planting?
Yes.
I forgot the intersection in the story with that.
It's flowers for Algernon. And each time I would appear with you on the screen, I would have flowers for you at the background.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, on that wonderful
Didn't
note,
put, wow. See, if anybody ever thinks I'm too smart for myself, I didn't get that until now. So
look
thank
at
you.
that. It's a,
Thank you for the flowers.
each
I
time,
think anywhere you find an Algernon.
give him flowers.
Yeah, but don't have to cut them down, people. You can just, see them. Take a
Mm.
picture.
Yeah, it's a great book. Um, it's really that story talks about seeing the world with different perspectives of the same person who changes the perspective depending on the intelligence rise.
Yep.
Amazing.
And it's just done, it's like simple text, but and you have to do it with the book
Mhm.
because he's writing a journal. Charlie in the story is writing a
Yeah.
journal, and you have to read his words, and his grammar is atrocious, and his spelling is atrocious, and the things he mistakes for other things really stand out. A, when you read it, and B, when you have to speak it. So if you do the book, it's a short book, you got to speak the
Mhm.
part of Charlie out loud because then you get to sort of evolve with him as
Mhm.
like he's becoming smarter at each stage. And you really see that like how a much more simple person would see the world and then how much more detail he saw and not all of it good and then what he ultimately said about science and
Mhm.
scientists and the hubris of science in that story was just really remarkable um,
Yeah.
and so resonates with me today and with what we're going through. So
Mhm. Well, Algernon,
On
thank you
that
so
happy note,
much. This podcast today was sponsored by Free Time. Check under your seats, guys. You have one as well. And bye.
thanks. It's a
I,
dream.
sweet dreams made of this. Who am I to disagree? So much
Mm.
projections. By any length. Sweet dreams are made of
Oh
this.
yeah.
One more. Am I the only one who suddenly gets random urges to listen to this song like out of nowhere after forgetting it even exists?
Interesting. I would say
30,000 like.
there, when you just read that comment, I thought, man, that's just like the drink Pina Colada. Like
Mm-hmm.
you forget about it, you don't think about them, and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, I need a Pina Colada. I haven't had a Pina Colada in I don't know how long. Man, I need a vacation. And nothing says vacation like Pina Colada. Brought to you today by such and such Pina Colada mix.
There is another comment which I like here. If you ignore the fact that they both attempt to cheat on each other, then this song has a deep meaning. It's trying to say that people have exactly what they want right in front of them, but they have yet to realize. If the two
Ah,
of them had tried to
hmm.
talk to each other, they had been way more happy.
I don't
Ah,
know. That's interesting. What if they want to live in a cheating relationship, each of them?
yeah. The both of them pretty much did not want to talk about it either
I don't
later.
know. Like we were reading it that way. They didn't want to talk about it. But you could also read it, they were just like, oh yeah, this is the I just been doing this my entire life. I just do serial cheating. I love it. I love it. I love the randomness. I love almost getting caught. I love trying to intermingle two schedules and not notice the other
Oh,
person. And sometimes I leave a bit of a little perfume so the other person's like, "Hey." And I know that she does this too, and we've been doing this game for
oh,
25 years and we both love it. That couple probably exists. Maybe this is their song.
oh yeah. But almost cheating, like that thing in a dune,
Yeah.
it's like almost getting caught in there as well.
That's true. Yes,
Also,
because
the
it's
word
outdoors.
caught in the rain.
Oh, being programmed here.
Yeah,
I
it's
had to
like,
look back to see the word choices in some of these things.
yeah, the word caught was in there. The word caught and escape, both of them were right there. Like this cup is falling at the end of Usual Suspects, like Kobayashi Porcelain, and now everything
I
makes sense.
love that movie.
Me too.
The Usual Suspects.
I mean,
But
I
we
really
can't say who's in it anymore. Oh,
watched the
oh, you
movie.
just got your video demonetized.
What?
Do you like this hair animation? I'm
Yeah.
just doing that so that anybody trying to do a deep fake really has to work at it.
Ah, I think nobody will ever do a deep fake of me.
Oh, that's something you could ask people to do for you.
I really don't want to do.
Well, careful what you ask for.
I
I don't
really,
think I'd want to either because you're no.
first of all, I don't want it, and secondly,
It's
there
like
is.
it's like asking for a perfect puppet of yourself that you don't control and that could be instanced a million times. You're like, no, nobody wants that.
I had that. Is that the music? I'm not allowed to pay for. I think I will not.
Dun, 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 dun.